Erin's not here. I am. I'm Mike. Erin had her baby last Monday, uh, Melanie Joy, and so she's on maternity leave now for the next few months. Last week I wanted to go to the Q conference in Nashville this year, and just didn't feel like I could get away for that much time, and then it became virtual, and so I signed up and attended, and it was a remarkable couple of days that many people just talked about the reset. They didn't really address COVID 19 except on a few conversations directly. But people talked about what God was doing in the midst of this. Was he using something that was intended for evil for good? It seems like it. Dr. Sissy Goff, she's a psychologist, works primarily with pediatricians, was talking about the fact that stress and anxiety amongst kids and teens were just skyrocketing. We hear that in the 20s. So many have therapists, and just trying to deal with the pace of life, trying to deal with the complexity of life. And she said, all of a sudden, 2 to 3 weeks into the pandemic, the change was apparent in these kids. They came in happy and they talked about making cookies with mom and playing board games with their family. And one little girl said, I didn't know I liked to be by myself. I didn't know I liked to read and just to write. And people were discovering what life without the urgency was really like. And they used the term reset in a way to challenge people. What is God saying? One speaker said, is God's voice getting louder? Or is the din of noise getting lower? Either way, we seem to be aware that God is doing something as He's set the world on pause. What does that mean for you? When you talk to your small groups, one of the things that you can talk to them about is, what are they taking out of this? I remember the first week that we had virtual church, Nick said, COVID 19 will take things from us. But what are we going to take from COVID 19? And I think what he meant was, what is God encouraging you now that we're no longer busy? That was the mantra of 2 months ago. Oh, I'm too busy. To now, with the time that you have, how are you spending it? What were you too busy for that maybe now you can take advantage of? Pretty soon the urgency is going to come back. Maybe now is a good time to write your new schedule. How are you going to live life less rushed? How are you going to live life with a different set of priorities? How are you going to live life differently and more consistent with what God might want for you? To enjoy those friends, to maybe build a friendship with somebody who doesn't know Christ, and take the time just to enjoy them and let them enjoy you and see the difference that Christ makes in your life. Maybe it is with a family member. Maybe it's a whole family. Maybe it's a group of friends. Maybe taking an evening a week to play a board game and to talk about life isn't such a bad thing after all. And so, before this is over and before the urgency hits, encourage your people. What is God saying to you? How are you listening to Him now that you have the time? We'll see you next week. God bless, and thanks for the work that you're doing with your small groups.